When people think of the Kriegsmarine's victories, they typically think of the early war years and that after 1943, those became almost non-existent. But in 1945, they attempted to relive some of the glory days with a raid on Granville. After the Allied invasion of Normandy, the occupied Channel Islands were cut off from supplies, and by this time they were running low on things like coal. In December 1944, 4 German paratroopers and a naval cadet escaped a POW camp and made their way to the islands with a stolen LCVP. Once there, they relayed information about shipments of coal and the location of US troops. So the island's new commander, Vice Admiral Friedrich Hofmeier, planned a raid to get supplies and boost morale. A first attempt was made, but was aborted due to weather and because a US submarine chaser detected one of the escorting Schnellboats. The raid was finally carried out on March 8, 1945, led by Captain Lieutenant Karl Friedrich Moore. The raiding force consisted of 4 M-class and 2 R-class minesweepers, 3 armed barges with 88mm guns, 3 motor launches, and a tug. The Germans were also using the stolen LCVP, along with fishing boats and harbor craft. This amounted to over 600 men taking part in the raid. Since the Germans received intelligence about the identification signals needed to enter the harbor, they initially landed unopposed. Once there, they damaged the harbor locks and started several fires on the shore. The Germans then mined a few merchant freighters, where the master of the Kiel Castle was killed while resisting the Germans. Meanwhile, the 3 barges outside the harbor clashed with the American subchaser PC-564. It began firing star shells at the Germans that failed to explode, and their deck gun jammed. The Germans fired at the American vessel, knocking out the wheelhouse and killing everyone on the bridge. More rounds struck the ship, disabling its guns and killing more of its crew. The order was given to abandon ship and was eventually grounded. The crew left aboard were eventually rescued, and the ship was later salvaged. At the Hotel des Bons, 9 American officers and 2 US Marines fought off the Germans until they were killed in action. Also killed during the raid were 5 enlisted men in the Royal Navy, along with Roger Lightoller, an officer. He was also the son of Charles Lightoller, 2nd officer on the RMS Titanic, the most senior member of the crew to survive. Allied resistance caused significant delays, and by the time the Germans were ready to depart, the tide was so low they could only take 1 captured collier. During the raid, the Germans suffered 6 men killed and a minesweeper scuttled, and the Allies 22 men killed with 1 minesweeper and 4 freighters damaged. The Germans also captured 1 collier with 112 tons of coal and freed 67 German prisoners who were working in the area. Some sources also claim that 30 Allied soldiers and sailors were taken prisoner as well. Overall, the raid was a minor tactical victory for the Germans, with Moore being awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. The triumph was short-lived, since just after the Germans returned from the raid, leaflets were dropped on the islands, letting the inhabitants know that the US First Army crossed the Rhine at Remagen. What supplies they managed to bring back didn't make much of a difference, but the coal kept the people warm for the final 2 months of the war. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and hit subscribe. If you want to learn about another lesser-known victory, check out my video about the Battle of Drobuch Sound.